And I'm waiting for the notification. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record, the People's Podcast. On the People's Podcast, we have a great guest, one who has a great testimony and is doing a great work in the city of Washington, D.C. First of all, assalamu alaikum, Brother Edward.
Walaikum salam, sir.
This is truly an honor that you would come and have a conversation with my viewing and listening audience. We are always looking to get information and inspiration, and I saw the great work, some of the great work that you were doing on Facebook, and I said I had to share this with the people. First of all, Walaikum salam, Sister Teresa Pearl. Sister Teresa Pearl says something like,
Walaikum salam. I want to say, I want to commend you on the great work that you are doing, because I watched an interview, part 3, with Brother Joshua Farrakhan. I watched that this morning.
Oh, praise be to
God. And you asked the tough questions. You're not intimidated as a journalist. And I really admire that. So I thank Allah for you.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, well, Brother Edward, the first thing we want to know is, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, I was born in the nation. My father was a member of the Nation of Islam under Dr. Lonnie Shabazz, the great Dr. Lonnie Shabazz, the Muhammad Mosque number 4.
Yes, sir.
And I was born in 1973. So in 1975, with the departure of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, there was no more Nation of Islam. And my father, like so many others, went back to the streets. And he tried the Sunni Orthodox Islamic thing and that landed him back into a life of crime. And went to prison in 1980, and he has been in prison since 1980, 40 years. But I was born in a nation, and when I was growing up, we didn't have a picture of the white Jesus on our wall. We had a picture of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But I was scared of the picture because my grandmother told me that that was the devil.
So when did you accept under the Most Honorable Farrakhan?
This is funny. When I went to prison in 1991, I went to prison, and I was against everything. I was antisocial, living that life of the streets. And my mother had been murdered in 1987 when I was 14 years old. And my father had went to prison when I was 6 years old. So I really didn't have any faith in anything. And so when I went to prison, I used to always say I would never become a Muslim, because everybody in prison become a Muslim for protection. So 91, that was my motto. Can't be no Muslim. Too powerful for that. And so I finally let somebody trick me to a meeting. We had some neighborhood issues. I'm from a neighborhood called 640. And our neighborhood was beefing with First Street. And when I was down Lawton, I was at Lawton prison. There was some people from First Street down there. And it was his brother named Rico. He's from First Street. And 2 brothers from my neighborhood were murdered from people from First Street. And 2 of those incidents, Rico was there. He wasn't the trigger man, but he was present. And so Rico joined the Nation of Islam. And so he used to walk around with a bow tie on. And I used to look like this corny Negro. He looked like a and, but I knew that he was a trigger man. I knew he on the street, he shoots that gun. I knew that.
Yes, sir.
And he's the first person that I ever heard say, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He came to me and said, listen, I don't want to beef with you. I'm not scared of you. I'm not taking a cop. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan don't want us killing each other. And I was just like, because I knew he wasn't scared of me. I knew he wasn't a sucker. And it was like the first time in my life that I saw a man. That was like man time.
Yes, sir.
And I was floored by that. I was like, damn.
Okay.
And so
Yes, sir.
he would give me final calls. I never read them. Then there was another brother that I knew from the streets down Lorton. Every brother that was an FOI was a killer. Like they wasn't in it for no protection.
Yes, sir.
So that was kind of attractive because everybody every one of them had a murder. They were locked up for first degree murder. So you already knew what it was with them. So that was attractive. And for them to put on the bow tie and to be humble, I let them treat me to a meeting. And my life changed from that.
Praise be to Allah. I have a quick question. 1 second. Okay. I have a quick question about you when you were in prison. Did you have to recite? Did you get the lessons? Like who taught you like how to be FOI in prison?
When I started going to the meetings, when I was down Lorton, they had a brother named Raymond X. Let me tell you this, I got to contextualize it because they kind of tricked me. I watched the Malcolm X movie, and so I hated the Nation of Islam. But it was a brother who was a 5%er, and he would give me the lessons. So he would recite like 196,940,000 square miles. And I'm like, man, this nigga is God.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
And I had never heard nobody this smart. I had never heard nobody can talk like this. And so I told my father, the black man is God. And the Nation of Islam killed Malcolm X. And so my father wrote me a letter and said, my father was in prison. And he said, well, who gave Clarence his X? If you're a 5%er. Who gave him his X? Elijah Mohammed, and he said, why follow a branch off a tree where you can go to the root? And that just made so much sense with me. And then I told my cousin that, I think I'm about to join the Nation. Only thing that I had a problem with was the yes, sir, and the no, sir. That was the only thing, because I already was a vegan. I didn't eat any flesh. I was already had a little discipline, and I knew that I was ignorant, so I knew that I needed a change. So that wasn't even up for a debate, and it was attractive because back then in '93, the Nation was like, if you were smart as a black person, you in the Nation. If you were clean as a black person, you in the Nation. If you had anything to say, it was like at that time, black consciousness was synonymous with being in the Nation. And so I joined.
Praise be to Allah. Now, once you get out of prison, how do you go to a mosque, or like what's the route, like what's the steps?
While I was in 1994, I got sent to the federal penitentiary, and I was sent to Atlanta federal penitentiary. And in Atlanta penitentiary, Brother Jamil was the regional minister, the Southern regional minister. And so Brother Jamil would come in 1994, and he would come in. We had prison reform minister, Brother Stanley Mohammed. He would come in every Monday. Every Monday he would come in. We had FOI class, just like the streets. The only difference. So it was we had the same access, the same information, the same everything. And so we were selling final calls. We were selling so many final calls in Atlanta Penitentiary. We were selling more papers than any prison in the United States. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wanted to come in here because we were selling so many papers, but the security issue didn't allow that.
Praise Allah. Beautiful. My brother Rashad says the first time he met you, he was rapping at the mosque in DC, and you were hyped up, and he heard a verse. Oh, he said you was rapping in DC, and he ain't heard a verse since that first day. My sister sent the greetings, and thank you all for continuing to watch the People's Podcast. I didn't know you were a rapper.
Not a rapper.
Rashad, I don't know. Okay, I don't know what my brother's talking about.
No, I remember that. I did. We had a song called The Final Call.
Okay, yes.
Brother Michael, and Brother George. They are rappers. I'm a
Okay,
poet.
yes, sir. Oh, you're a poet. Okay, yes, sir. Because you do
Poet.
poetry. Okay, yes, sir.
So, but I knew how to ride the beat a little bit, and they were like, "Let's do some little rap," and I'm like, "Okay, we can do it." We was trying to come up with devise ways to get young people interested in the mosque.
Okay, excellent. My next question is: once you got into the mosque outside of prison and you released, was it a hard transition from prison to civilian life?
In the mosque, this might sound crazy, but if you ask any brother that's been in prison, it's like when you leave prison as an FOI and come into the mosque, it's like you go down.
Mm.
Like when you integrate yourself with the mosque. Because it's like when you come in the mosque, you know all your lessons. You already eat 1 meal a day. You never missed a prayer in 10 years. Stuff. So and so when you come, it's like you a culture shock almost. You come, brothers cuss. They do this. What?
Okay.
You know, and after a while, you find yourself and you just integrate yourself. When you come out of prison, you kind of strong, real strong. Because you ain't got enough time for you study and listen to the minister all day, every day.
Yes, sir. Okay, excellent. My next, and thank you very much for your honesty and transparency, Brother Edward. My next question is there something some of the youth who are watching may need to hear, almost like a scare straight story? Could you give us a story? Because some people glorify prison. Is there a way that you can, like, give them advice to keep them out, to let them know that it's not cool or it's not like a badge of honor?
One of the things we look at in our community, the things that we do, all of the things that we do in terms of crime and violence is against ourselves. So we're active participants in our own genocide and our own destruction. And the things that young people don't realize is what we call a tier one. When you shoot somebody, that's tier one. You just kill somebody. Tier two or phase two is now you locked up. While you locked up, you didn't calculate that he got homies that's locked up too. And they already got a knife, and they already in the block, and they waiting on you. You anticipate that. You ain't anticipate that beef gonna transfer itself into prison where you ain't got no homies, you ain't got no gun. It's a and so that's like the conversation that we like to have with young people, just to get you to start to thinking. And it's more legal money than it is illegal money. So
yes, sir.
Engage in that behavior.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wonderful.
I want to say one more thing. Another thing I wanted to help me transition, because you asked me about my transitioning. When I first came into the mosque, Brother Kadir, student minister Abdul Kadir Mohammed, he told me, turn the fire down. He said, when you cooking a hamburger, he said, if you cut the fire all the way up as you cook the hamburger, he said, you're going to cook the hamburger, but you're going to burn the frying pan. He said, you cut the fire down and you still cook the hamburger. So that kind of helped me. I guess I was gung-ho. Every time there's something to do, I want to do it. And, so. And then Brother Aaron, student Captain Aaron Mohammed, he really gave me my Islamic swag, Brother Aaron, because I was working. They had a recreation center, the Deanwood Recreation Center, and Brother Aaron and Brother Dave had a contract, and so they gave us a job working at Deanwood as FOI. And I had a good relationship with all of the youngins. So Brother, he said, man, the youngins like you, man, you should teach your class over here. And so I'm like, we at work. I don't want to start trying to teach. And then they say, man, you're supposed to be working. And so I went to Brother Aaron and told him, and he was like, man, make it happen. Like, prove your God is real. And
yes, sir.
That right there was like invaluable advice for me. Because I had just come home from prison. I had a whole lot in my heart that I wanted to do, but I wanted to sit in. I didn't want to come home and just come in the mosque, think I know this and know that. You know how it goes. You got to sit down for a minute, and he gave me that boost of confidence to kind of move with that, make it happen mentality. So I wanted to acknowledge them two brothers.
Praise be to Allah, and that's wonderful. And thank you again, Brother Edward, for your testimony. Brother Ian F. Muhammad says something like BYB for life. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming he's
Backyard band.
Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir. Because I this is the first time watching. I've never heard him say anything. My sister Naima says all praise to our history. And my sister Miriam wants to know, do you do motivational speaking for youth?
I'm a balance interrupter, and so I had clients. I don't know. I guess that's motivational speaking because one of my clients just called me and told me to give him a lift. So I have clients that tier one clients are people who have shot people before, killed somebody before. You don't necessarily have to kill somebody to be a tier one, but you're a known shooter. You know to carry a gun, and the police are pretty much familiar with you. So what the district government did was created a program called the Violence Interruption Program, where you get people who had committed murder before or been in that lifestyle before in the hood. They like an OG, and the youngins listen to them. And so they kind of empower them / us to go back and talk to the young people. And so as a violence interrupter who did 18 years in the federal penitentiary, it ain't pretty much all the stories you can come up with, I can match them. My mother was murdered when I was 14. My father been in jail since I was 6 years old. I got shot 4 times. I got stabbed 6 times. So I'm not trying to hear that. We know we can't make no excuses. We got to make it happen.
Praise be to Allah. Can we just can't just gloss over that, sir? Did you would you be considered a tier 1 prisoner? Is that what you're saying?
91, yes, sir. In 91, okay. I got charged as an adult in 1991 for a crime that shooting somebody in the head twice with a 45. I was 16 years old, and I went to prison, and I was sentenced to 15 to 80 years, and I served 18 years of that 15 to 80 year sentence, and I made parole. Let me tell you, I got to tell you this story.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm on parole. And I'm on parole to 2071 because I had 15 to 80 years. I went in 91, so 80 years, 2071. So one day I went to see my parole officer. And at this time, I was married. And so me and my, at that time, wife, we went in there and she was covered up. And I had on a suit and bow tie. So when I went to see my PO, he said, "You have for what?" I'm like, he said, "Man, I ain't know that." He said, "Bro, I'm about to get you on parole." I'm like, I'm saying my mind, "Nick, bro, you can't. I got 80 on the back. You ain't that strong. You got no parole." So he said, "Man, that's why I don't get in trouble." He said, "Man, if I'd have knew that, I wouldn't have did nothing to you." He said, "I'm about to take your record and put it in the middle of some low-level offenders. And put some low-level offenders on the bottom, and put some on the top, and put yours in the middle, and they're going to sign off on all of them." And voila, he worded bond to Allah. He called me one day and said, "Guess what? You're not on parole no more." And I was like, "Oh, so, those are like things that
that's okay.
God is real, and Allah got your back, and you just all you got to do is try, man. It's gonna work. That was like one of those moments that, wow. And here's another one of those moments. And then when I had to get this job, you had to do an FBI clearance and all of that. So I was like, wallahi, I went in there. It's on Facebook. The videos on it. I showed the paper.
Yes, sir.
No record found. I've never been locked up. God is real, brother.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Okay. 1 second. Oh, my brother Rashad said, just thank you very much for your testimony, and you really inspired him a lot. My next question is, I'm trying to figure out exactly. You got out 91. Were you around during the time of the Million Man March?
No, I went to the hole for the Million Man March. I was in Atlanta Penitentiary. I did 7 months in the hole because of the Million Man March, and I was off on Monday. They tried to orchestrate a work stoppage. And I was off. It was on a Monday, October 16th. I went to the whole. So I wasn't around. No.
Yes, sir. Could you explain to us what it's like? We've seen, the hurricane or different movies where there's a hole, or maybe Malcolm X or something. Could you explain to us what it's like, or the TV show Oz, to be in the hole? How do you stay sane?
When you in the hole, you in a cell, you locked in a little cell for 23 hours a day. It's mandatory by the Supreme Court that they have to let you out for at least 1 hour. So for 23 hours, you'll be locked in the cell. It's a shower inside the little cell. You're not coming out for anything. It's a tray slot at the cell. They open and put your food in there. And you in there for 23 hours. And I was in the hole for 7 months. And I think that was what developed me. People always say, Brother Edward, you're smart, this. And I always attribute that to when I was in the hole. Because they had a book cart. And they had an order you used to walk through with the book cart. And once you in the hole, you ain't got nothing to do. You might well read. You might, I don't want to read. You're a tough nigga, bro. You in the hole, you might well read. So I started reading, and it was a black woman when I was in Atlanta named Miss Williams. She came to my cell one day, and she said, I was going through your records, and I just realized you don't have a GED. And I was like, I don't want the white man's education. I don't need a GED. I got a GOD, all this old foolishness, right? That's what I was saying at that time. I thought I was sharp. So she said, I'm going to put you in school, and the white men don't have no education. I thought you said mathematics came from Africa. I thought you said science came from Africa. The white man ain't got it. I was like, okay. So when I came out of the hole, she put me on. I had to take my pre-GED first. So when I took my pre-GED, it was a brother that was over the education department. He said I cheated because my score was so high. So they humiliated me and buried. You supposed to be a Muslim. Took me in the hallway in front of everybody. This Negro done cheated. They checked me. And so they made me go in a room by myself to take the pre-test over. And so I'm like, you always ask God, why are you taking me through this? Like, this is embarrassing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The score was higher than the first one.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so Miss Williams, she was like, I'm so proud of you. And she kind of inspired me. So then I took my GED, then I got that, and I got transferred to Florence, Colorado. And I got an associate's degree in business administration while I was in Florence, Colorado. I was like one of the last groups to graduate before they cut federal inmates getting college educations.
Praise be to Allah. That's beautiful, sir. Beautiful, man. And thank you all for watching. Brother Young Guap says he got a real story to tell. Yes, sir. My sister love praise to Allah. In 7 months. Wow. Okay, my next question for you, sir, is we got to go back to you being shot 4 times. How are you and stabbed 6 times? Are these on 2 different incidents?
Yes, sir. I got shot 2 different incidents.
2 different incidents. Okay, yes, sir.
When I was prior to going to prison, I was one of those wild, when DC was the murder capital, I was with that, I was.
Yes, sir.
So we were living wild, and I used to rob people. My logic was, why hustle all day when I can just let you hustle all day, and when you get through, I come rob you. That's simpler for me. And so I was on robbery gone bad. One of my buddies, I told him, don't shoot the guy. He told me, I'm going to shoot him anyway. He shot him, and the bullet went through him and hit me as I was holding him. So both of us fell. So that was one incident. Then another incident, living that life of foolishness. And I got shot again. I got shot 3 times the second time. And the second time I got shot because of my neighborhood, my affiliation. It wasn't anything that I had done. And let me tell you this, a witness bearer that I got shot, I had a gun on me. I forgot I had the gun.
Dang.
So I think I look at all of that as Allah using life to mold and shape me as a human being. Like working with young people, I think that I am equipped as an authority
Yes, sir.
Like to deal with young people. We can match whatever you say. I've already been through that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so when I went to prison in 91, I got stabbed. I got stabbed August the 22nd, 1991. The reason I remember that is because I turned 18 the next day. So it was the day before my birthday. I got stabbed. I got stabbed for nothing. A brother said I killed his brother. I didn't. I don't even know his brother. The scenario he created, and I wasn't there. I don't know these Negroes and none of that. But you know, you live that lifestyle, and that kind of comes with it. You get beefs that some beefs you were with, some beefs you weren't with, something. Then if you have a name that you into that type of stuff, any similarities, you gonna get the blame. So that was one of my struggles. And during that time, during that 18 years, most of those issues that I had with people, we out on the street together, working together, trying to help our community.
Praise be to Allah. Well, I'm happy that you are in the community and using your testimony to help inspire others, especially the youth. And thank you all for continuing watching the People's Podcast. My next question for you, Brother Edward, is because you went through what you've been through, being shot, stabbed, you get out of prison, you're FOI, and you go back to the community and you live in life. Was there ever a time that you faced fear? And if so, how did you overcome the fear that you faced?
A brother asked me this about 5 years ago. One of the brothers I grew up with. And he said, man, let me ask you a question. Do you think since you've been in the mosque that you got soft? And I was like, soft? I was like, brother, you got to be a FOI to get it. The mosque made me worse. Man, I ain't scared of nobody. Like, you have to be a FOI to get it. Like I tell people all the time, if you think this, just do like that. One day, me and a brother was selling some final calls. We was at out in Largo selling final calls, and another brother was out there. He wasn't an FOI. He was like, Farrakhan is an agent. Farrakhan is an agent. So when I heard it, I told the brother, he like me, he a street brother, he a street FOI. so I was like, I said, man, you on him? So he said, what did he say? I said, he said, the minister's an agent. He said, man, he didn't say that. I said, I'm telling you, bro, I'm about to take this bow tie off and go step to him.
Yeah.
Like, you can go that way, I'm going to go, take the bow tie off. He like,
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Man, we don't want to whoop him. And then the mosque gets the beef. I'm like, that's why you take the bow tie off. So he was like, we're going to step to him first and give him a chance to see what he said. So the brother was more aggressive than me. He was like, what you say? You said Farrakhan an agent? He said, no. I said, Farrakhan is an angel. So that's one of the things that I love about a brother from the street. Prophet Mohammed, peace be upon him, said, whatever you were in the dunya, the world, that's what type of Muslim you're going to be. So if you were strong in the dunya, when you come into Islam, you're going to be strong. You're going to have the same strength. And I love this. When, if I'm going to die for a block, that my grandmother rented and we don't own nothing around there, and the white man just, you think I ain't going to die for a principle or a cause? And when I was in prison, I was around brothers. Our thinking process was different. Brother used to ask, would you die for the minister? Die for the minister? That means I lost. I killed for the minister. Your ass gonna die. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's how I was raised. You know what? I'll kill for the minister. You won't die. I ain't die. I'm gonna be the one to tell the story.
Now, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, beautiful. Sister Aaliyah says some things must happen so other things can't happen. Praise be to Allah. Okay, my next question is, what do you do for fun now, Brother Edward?
I don't want to sound corny, brother. I read. I read.
You read? Yes, sir.
I don't want to sound cliche, it's even because the minister said he found fun in reading. And, everybody that's a Muslim want to be like the minister. And,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But reading. I like reading and learning. And I like go-go. I like go-go.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, speaking of go-go, the brother the famous go-go entertainer who passed away, Chuck Brown. So is there still, like, if you ain't from DC, most people don't know about beating your feet and go-go type stuff. Is there new go-go artists, or is it just like Chuck Brown gone and that's it?
No, they have a whole lot of bands. They got BYB Backyard Band. They got Rare Essence. They got Junkyard Band. They got EU. I don't even know all of them. They have a whole lot of bands.
Okay.
TOB. They more cater to the young people. That's the beat your feet crowd.
Okay.
With vacation, I wouldn't be surprised if we see an all-white go-go band.
I'm sure it's coming. Okay. Before we keep going, Brother Edward, and thank you all for watching the People's Podcast, and thank you for your transparency. I want to make sure I give a shout out to all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast, which you sponsored by Cash App, People's Podcast. If you have a business that you would like me to promote, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, please let me know. My brother Rashad and his business partner Jamal, Street Premier Video Production and Editing. They have a 4K camera, drones. They're working on films. They're working on television shows. They'll chop everything you need up right away. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, coloring and children's book. It is on Amazon. Make sure you all please go out and support. My second book, Cleopatra, it is on Amazon. Cleopatra with a K. It is on Amazon. Thank you all who have supported and continue to support. Also, my sister Naima's, Mohammed's dance class. She has a dance. I want to make sure I read it the right way. 1 second. Today we had quite a few sponsors come in. Stay on Point Dance Academy LLC on Instagram. She teaches virtually how to do ballet and dance to young women. Perfect. Supreme Men's Clothing, St. Louis, Missouri, 10835 West Florissant Avenue. The phone number is 314-528-5555. Our brother is going to keep you fresh, dripping in St. Louis. BMW Entertainment with our brother Ronald in Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you very much. He does event planning, and he will travel all around the country to plan your event. So if you have an event that you would like promoted, please reach out to our brother Ronald. Sister Tia Vinos with Raising Black Millionaire Flashcards. She has flashcards that teach young Black children the power of economic development and financial literacy. Thank you very much. Our brother Chantel X, Supreme Express, the X Factor in transportation and logistics out of Houston, Texas. It is a trucking company that specializes in refrigerating and freight. Also, Sister Serena Woodford in Fort Lauderdale, designsofcomposure.com and highlytexturized.com that do homemade hair products and self-care. Also, guys want to make sure, boom. And Akira's Cafe, 773-860-1696. Our brother Supreme Todd in Supreme Team Insurance, Todd X McGraw, 803-521-2787. And last but not least, my father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. Thank you all very much for your sponsors. Today was a good day for sponsorship, so we can be good for the next month. Thank you very much. Back to you, Brother Edward.
Yes, sir.
My next question is, what has been your greatest trial in your tenure of the nation? We spoke about when you were locked up, but in your tenure of the nation, what has been your greatest trial and how have you overcome that?
Worrying about what people think. Wanting to fit in. I questioned myself and asked, do I have low self-esteem? Because I try not to wear a mask. You act this way around these people, and then you're around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I want to be one way. And so I try to challenge myself to not wear a mask. So one day I went a week without shaving. And you get that shadow. And somebody said, you look good. You should grow your beard. must have a close head. You know,
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
you get to run it in your head. And I said, man, if I let my beard grow, they're going to say I'm a Sunni Muslim. You know, you say you don't care what nobody think about you, right?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
I don't care what y'all Negroes say, right?
Yes, sir,
That's
yes,
not
sir.
true. So I kind of challenged myself to not wear a mask. And that has been a trial for me. I've had, like, in the mosque, there are trial after trial after trial. But they're not trials in the sense that you should run from them. They are trials that once you go through it, you will see, I needed that. That was necessary. I get it. You know, every knock is a boost. Certain things you have to go through just as a soldier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have to get carried on posts. You have to get left on posts long so you can appreciate the next man not getting left on posts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Certain things you just have to experience for yourself. So I went through some public, I was married and my daughter's mother cheated on me. Now I'm in the ministry. Brother, I'm in the ministry on cloud nine. People call me for Quranic advice. I'm conducting Juma, and I get hit with this. So I'm like, wow, why would Allah allow this to happen to me? I'm so embarrassed, and you know, we just like black people. One thing I've learned from being in the mosque, it ain't the mosque. You know, people say, I'm gone, the mosque is, I'm gone. No, it ain't the mosque, it's you, it's black people. Black people that say, no matter where you go at, only difference from the mosque, Brother Kadir told me this. He said, you know what's the difference between a Negro and somebody in the mosque? I said, what? He said, the one in the mosque, last name Mohammed or X. So that's the reality, you know. That was something real for me. So those feelings, going through that, and you know, I don't have any regrets. I thank Allah for that experience, brother.
Yes, sir.
You know, we shake it off, keep it moving. So
But how did you heal from that?
Believing that Allah has a higher purpose for my life. Like, brother, I done got shot 4 times. The trenches.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, I mean, it hurt. It's embarrassing. But when you embrace Allah, I guess, I mean, nothing happens except by the active will or permissive will of Allah. So, ultimately, Allah allowed it to happen. So, my logic is, well, that wasn't the woman for me. Her loss. I'm cool. I'm Gucci. That's what they say in the street. I'm Gucci.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Okay, beautiful. What has been your greatest joy in your tenure in the Nation of Islam?
The way that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had my mind, brother. When I was in prison, I went to prison at 17 years old. I accepted Islam at 19. So when I was 19 years old, can you imagine when they opened the doors, when they popped the cells in the morning, I go to the chapel until they call final yard recall. So I might be in the chapel 10 hours every day watching Minister Farrakhan. Every single day for years. In Atlanta Penitentiary, in Florence, Colorado, they used to call me Lil Farrakhan. If you go to any federal penitentiary and say, you ever heard of Lil Farrakhan? They talking about Brother Edwards. That's me. Yeah. It was an honor. The minister made me say, when I used to hear the minister quote a scripture, I wanted to know that. I didn't want to just quote him. The minister said, woo, woo, woo. No, I want to know it for myself. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When I hear the minister talk about geopolitical this and international politics, I want to read that book. I really want to understand. And from studying the minister, I call this the gift and the curse. It's the gift and the curse because the minister's swag is so high, you're not gonna look at nobody else like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bring to the table, you like, man, I was under the minister, brother. You know,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They gonna get it. And the curse is in that it can blind you. It can blind you. God can come to you in the person of somebody else. And because they're not from Chicago, they're not tapped by the minister, you would just dismiss them. You would just, and so that's like, but the minister, his swag, the minister, I call it the Farrakhan swag, that's what really got me, like I could read and write 7 languages.
Can we go into that? Now, I went to Mohammed University of Islam, and I knew how to say Alif Ba Ta Ka. You know, I mean, I know how to spit it a little bit. Wahid If Neo. I know a little bit of the Arabic numbers and alphabet, but 7 languages. Come on. I mean, how did you learn the languages, and what languages did you learn?
There was a brother from DC, from Mohammed Mosque number 4, brother Mark. I think he's Mark 7X. He was a Howard student. He was with the NOISA, the Nation of Islam Student Association of Howard. He was up there with Dr. Ali Muhammad. And one day I was with brother Mark, and we were having a conversation, and he said something in Arabic, and I was like, you know Arabic? And he was like, yes, sir. And I was like, who taught you Arabic? He said, I taught myself. I said, you taught yourself. You know, we still got this slave mentality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was like, how you teach yourself? He said, the black man is God.
Yes, sir.
Killed me. He killed me, brother. He killed me. When we left, we parted ways. He probably doesn't even know to this day that he is the reason that I started studying Arabic. That brother, his confidence, he just was like he owned Arabic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I was like, the nerve. I got the nerve. And so I started studying Aleph, Ba, Ta, Ta, J.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then there's another brother that passed, brother Akbar Sharif Muhammad. When I started studying Arabic, I would go to YouTube and try to get the pronunciation right and see if I get it down pat. And brother Akbar Sharif Muhammad, he was in St. Louis, and we had a social media relationship. So every Savior's Day or Day of Atonement, brother Akbar would see me and brother Edward, and we would act like we knew each other, like we was homies from the block back in the
day. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? And he would always like, brother, I love you. And he was like, we don't have sheikhs in the nation, right? We don't have like the ulama.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To me, because brother Akbar knew Hebrew, Greek, Latin, but he was so humble. And you know, Master Farad Muhammad could read in like 16 languages.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This brother can do. He on that path.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he would always be so humble. And every time I give him some props, he'd throw it back. I'm just your brother. I'm just your brother. I'm like, no, you God. You.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Number, like he had this science to 19, like Mother Tanetta Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that was like beyond my pay grade. Like I'm just gonna keep beyond my pay grade, geez. And he inspired me. So when I got Arabic to where I can read it and write it, and I'm comfortable, and then I can open the Quran and recite. It's a little swag now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I felt empowered because I'm an Arabic teacher. But all of my clients are Sunni Muslims. And one of my clients, my brother Wali said, he said, oh man, you sharper than every imam I know. And so that's humbling, because as an FOI, it's like you're always a student of them.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm the teacher, bro. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so that has been like rewarding. And so me studying Arabic, I began to study the connection with Hebrew. And I mean, I want to also acknowledge Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Because Dr. Wesley Muhammad also inspired me because he, as an intellectual, he brings intellectuality to Islam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He doesn't just bring what you know that a Muslim is going to say. Before you even ask the question, you know, this is going to be the response.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. Wesley will give you a well thought out, critical response, and his work was inspirational and that you don't have to be ashamed to be smart and brilliant and gifted and moving. You know, it's like it's like an invisible handcuff on you to tell you that you can't do it if the minister didn't tell you to do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Even though you know that ain't it, that ain't right, and you know it, but you want to be in good grace. You don't want to buck tradition. You know. So
yes, sir.
I thank Allah for those brothers because from that inspiration I'm able to read and write 7 languages.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. That's good. How can we learn from the languages that you speak? And do you offer online classes? Like, how can people learn?
Well, I need some online help. You know, now I'm still a caveman when it comes to technology. Now, I need some help with technology. I don't know how to set up no class and all of that, but studying classical text. I studied the classical text of Al-Ajurumiyya. I studied Al-Kitab, and there's another classical text I can't think of right now. Al-Alafiyya. I studied those classical texts in Nahu wa Sarf, which is grammar and morphology. So I it's 78,000 words in the Quran. I know 55,000.
55,000 words. Praise be to Allah. But my question is, will you teach others? I'm saying like online, like how can
Absolutely. I just said I need some help, Brother Joshua.
Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir. No, I just want to make sure we was on the same page. Okay, well, Brother Edward, if you need help doing this setup like Zoom, I can assist you with that.
Yes,
ain't
sir.
no problem.
Yes,
if you need some help with this, ain't no problem. It'll take 5 minutes because a sister.
I wanted to do that for Ramadan because
I
wanted to offer an Arabic class to the Muslims for free as an act of charity. You know, that's the cat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You do good acts in Islam. They remove sins. And your brother got the rack. I got them piled up. You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise the Lord. Yes, sir. And shukran for that. My next question is, what advice would you give to future fathers?
Be in your own children's lives. Be involved. Be there. I look at a lot of Muslims coming home from prison, right? My father has been in prison since I was 6 years old. And I realized that his mistakes cost me my life. Had he not went to prison when I was 6, there's a strong probability that I wouldn't have went to prison. It don't mean that I would have listened to everything he said. I probably would, sometimes you got to learn your own way, right?
Yes, sir.
But
yes, sir.
It's a strong probability that I wouldn't have gone through that struggle. And so having gone through that and now having 2 children, I think that we should just try to be in our children's lives and stop trying to live vicariously through our children.
Beautiful. Okay. Yes, sir. Would you ever write a book on your life?
I'm doing that right now. I got the book complete in my head, but I just don't have enough discipline to just.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Because I get that a lot. One of the council members in Washington, D.C., she's Jewish too. She said, "You should write a book. You've been through a lot." Because we were on a panel dealing with public safety, and I was talking about having been shot and going through the struggle, and a lot of people they they look at you as a Muslim and think that you ain't got no history. So you don't know who that is. They like, who? The Muslim dude. So praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. I have one more question, and thank you all for continuing to watch the People's Podcast. And thank you very much, Brother Edward, because you have inspired me, and I'm sure you have inspired others. What do you want your legacy to be, sir?
I want my legacy to be, I want to be one of the strongest helpers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I wanted to be that in the mosque. Like in my mind, in my heart, in my life, like ever since I was 19 years old, that's all I've known, all like outside of the streets, that's all I know.
Yes, sir.
That's my perspective, that's my heart, right? So, but when I started studying these languages, I began to see the teachers of Honorable Elijah Muhammad in a different way that if you don't know the language, you wouldn't believe it. Like, you know, I have debates with Sunni Muslims, and when we read the Quran in Arabic, this is a man. And they like, astaghfirullah. No, ain't no astaghfirullah. What is this in Arabic? But when you don't know Arabic, they'll whoop you. And like, you gotta know, they don't do that. When you read it in Arabic, it say the same thing that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it's going to say, brother. That is scary. Then when you being able to read Hebrew, the same thing is true. That right there, I want to be like scholarly as a believer.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to, God is not a believer, God is a knower.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
God is not a believer. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said he used to think he was a believer. He said, now I know I'm a believer. We got to be knowers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Be a knower and be able to represent the word as an authority, not a believer.
Yes, sir.
When you feel like we're not going back and forward. We're not doing that. Dr. John Henry Clark said, I only debate with my equals. All others I teach. So
that's right. That's right.
We're not going back and forward. So I think that's what I would want my legacy to be along the lines of linguistics and Arabic.
Praise be to Allah. Well, Brother Edward, this means so much to me that you would come on my the People's Podcast and that you would share this with us. I'm in college as we speak, and as being a student, I have an appreciation for those who put in work to be, to become scholarly. So I can know Spanish is whooping. I mean, Spanish has whooped me before. So I can only imagine 7 languages. My God.
You're a lot, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on this show. I'm honored to be here. I always watch your show. It's very informative. I sent you an inbox and told you don't stop. I think you should compile, listen to a book. And a transcript because it's very informative and you document Nation of Islam history. And I also want to thank you that when you did that interview with Dr. Abdul Alim Muhammad, that was just courageous, and I really appreciate that. You don't care about what people think. I said, Brother Joshua got a Brother Edward swear.
I'm trying.
I appreciate you, and I thank Allah for you, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you all for watching People's Podcast. I'm going to upload this tonight on YouTube, inshallah. And I hope that you continue to inspire people. Please reach out to Brother Edward Muhammad on Facebook so that you all can learn some languages, especially Arabic. You got 7 of them, so just pick one. But thank you very much, sir. Assalamu alaikum.